Welcome to the 200K year series, where I'm going to be breaking down over the next few episodes the mindset, the moves that I made as a pageant and business coach who does this work full time to scale my business just over the last 7 years from literally $0 to now making 200K per year. And the reason why I'm doing this, and we're not going to not necessarily be going into a ton of like pageant prep and win the crown content, but I've always known that pageantry was meant to be my launch pad to go from the stage to building my own empire and life of freedom. And I think the more important thing that I really want to emphasize is not just the dollar amount that I was able to generate in my own business, but the fact that I did this while working on honestly no more than 15 hours of calls per week, while traveling across the world and going on many vacations per year and still competing in pageants. So, if you're sitting there right now and maybe you started your own online coaching business or you've started to monetize your skill set in some way and you're wondering if you have to choose between income, opportunities, and freedom, I'm here to tell you, you do not have to choose. You literally get to have every single thing that you want and that there's no limit to what you can accomplish. And I'm going to be breaking down in this series the steps that I made and moves that I've made when it comes to the mindset, the strategy, so that you can be able to do the same. Because truly, I wish I had this when I started my own pageant coaching business back in 2019. And that's actually where I'm going to start. So I started pageant coaching in 2019. And that first year, gals, I made $1,000. $1,000. That is it. Your first year to two in business, just depending on the skill set that you're bringing in, there's so much to learn. There's so many skills that you have to know. There's just so much to do and understand, even before you decide that you're going to take things seriously. And then on top of it, my biggest focus was just, I like what I'm doing. I like coaching. Let's keep doing this in a light way. I'd already had my social media. I had a couple people paying me, and it was good. It was good to start and to have that consistency. But fast forward, like you might think, okay, 2019, right now at the time of recording this, it's 2026. So it's been 7 years since then. But I want to forward a little bit to 2022, when in 2022, at that point, I already decided one, that I wanted to do my business full time, that I wanted to do coaching full time, and it wasn't something I just wanted to have on the side. And at this point, I'd already started investing in mentorship. I'd actually already been in mentorship for about a year or two at this point in time, consistently to learn the skills to get the support. And in 2022, which again was not that long ago, that was just 4 years ago, I made $48,000, which is good. Like that is not a bad amount whatsoever. Actually, I bet that most women watching this would hear that, and maybe you've got, like I said, your own coaching business or your own like side passion project, and you're like, wow, I would love to make $48,000. That would be amazing. But what's even more incredible, and again, what I'm going to be breaking down in the 200K series, is the fact that that was 4 years ago. Ever since after 2022, so 2023, 2024, 2025, and now even going into 2026, not only have I been able to reach the six-figure mark, but we've been able to reach it and maintain it over the last three, now going on to 4 years, and not even just the six-figure mark, like the mid six-figure mark and multiple six figures being 200K. And also, these are also going to be things alluding to how I'm also going to be scaling my business moving forward, because the beautiful thing about business is that there's literally no cap on what you can do. But I want to go through the three biggest identity shifts and decisions that I had to make in order to go from making 48K just 4 years ago and only $1,000 even 7 years ago to now in the last year being able to bring in $200,000 in income. So let's break it down. The very first thing, and this goes if you're in this position right now, if you're listening to this and you're like, heck yes, I want to do this. I feel so activated. I am ready. Good. Because the first thing that you have to do is decide that this is something that you want. You have to decide, because no one is going to come and make a decision and hold your hand and say, what do you really want? This isn't going to the ice cream shop and your mom's asking you which flavor you want to pick. This is your life. And you have to decide that you no longer want to stay and settle for the current reality, the current income, and the current results that you have. And that was the first thing that I had to do. Not just when I started my business and deciding I wanted to take this full time. But every income jump, I had to decide, I didn't want to just stay at six figures. Like, that's amazing. And that's probably more than most people will ever make. But I had to decide my income didn't stop there. And that wasn't my ceiling. I had to decide that I wanted to keep growing and scaling my business. I had to decide I wanted to keep learning and investing how to do that, how to be a better coach, how to have a better skill set, how to earn and charge more and retain clients longer. The second shift that I had to make when it came to building a 200K year, and I'm going to talk, like I said, more specifically about the offers, the content, the mentorship, the actions. But the second thing that I had to do, once you make a decision, you then have to treat that decision like it matters. So it's one thing to say that you have a goal. Most people do New Year's resolutions and they say that they have goals and they decide, yep, this is my goal. But the amount of people who actually follow through and treat it seriously is not very many, right? Many people end up like forgetting about their goals or they write it in a journal and then they forget about it a couple months later. But for me, because I decided that this goal was serious to me to hit, I wasn't even saying I wanted to hit 200K, but the fact that I wanted to keep doubling and scaling my business, I had to treat that seriously. So, what did that mean? It means that I had to actually plan for it. It means that I had to actually look at the data every single month. I had to look at that goal. I had to look at where I was at and ask myself, how am I planning to hit this? Okay, if I'm not there yet, or if I'm not on the path to getting there, what do I need to do, change, or tweak? And I needed to be really honest with the way that I was operating myself, my mindset, and my offers and sales to make sure that the steps that I was taking were in alignment with actually hitting that goal. So, again, it's not just decide the goal you want, it's not just set the vision and forget it. We're not over here just trying to manifest hundreds of thousands of dollars. We actually have to plan for it. And that started with not just setting the goal, but treating it seriously. And not just having it somewhere where I could see, but somewhere where I could revisit and plan for it over and over again. And the third shift that I had to make when it come to scaling my pageant and business coaching business is I had to trust myself even bigger. I had to like dig deep down in myself and say, Maria, do you really believe that this is possible? Because if you really believe and you really know that there's no cap, that there is no limit, that there are other people making millions and millions and millions of dollars, that there is no reason why you can't be doing the same. But you've got to believe in yourself and you've got to know that the way that it's going to unfold is probably not going to be the first plan that you think about. And so I had to trust and believe and know that I was going to make it happen my way. Because it can be a lot to look at where your income is at, right? If you're at 40K, 60K, 80K, 100K, 150K, and then you look at a number like 200K and you're like, I'm not there yet. How is that going to happen? And you don't always need to know the how, but you have to have deep trust and belief in yourself that you're going to be the person who makes it happen. And that's what I had to remind myself and anchor in every single day, every single hour, every single month, not just in the last year, in the last 365 days, but in the last 7 years since I decided that this was going to be a journey that I walked. And part of that was also having mentorship that I trusted along the way. So that way, when my coach gave me advice and feedback on what I could do, I wasn't questioning her. I was trusting her and I was trusting myself to implement it and to see the results that I wanted. But more importantly, you need to trust yourself that you're going to be resourceful, you're going to figure it out, and you're going to make it happen. It's normal to have fear and to have doubt because you've never done this thing before. I had fear and doubt. I'd never done it before. Nobody in my family does something like this. I'm literally the first one. But that didn't matter. I didn't need to see the way. I didn't need to have absolutes and certainty. I said, I'm going to be the one who makes it happen because I have that trust in myself. And these three things, deciding, treating it seriously, and trusting myself, were the three biggest foundational identity and mindset shifts that I had to make in order to go from earning six figures a year for the last 3 years to scaling my income to being at the multiple six-figure year. And I'm really excited to share. You're going to want to stay tuned and go to the next episodes that are already out right now, because you're going to want to see and realize that this isn't just a dream. This isn't just a nice thing or a nice idea. This is absolutely something that you can have too. And that's why I'm breaking it all down. And if you're someone who doesn't just want to listen to the episodes and get that hit of inspiration where you take action and figure it out, but you actually want consistent mentorship from myself, who has done this from the ground up in just the last 7 years, then this is your sign to apply for our Empire Mastermind, which is open for enrollment. This is my 6 month mastermind where we're growing on social media, growing influential brands, and more importantly, raising your income by doing work that you love and working with people that you love who find you and want to pay you for what you know, who you are, and what you do. The application is going to be linked in the show notes below, so you can submit your application. I would absolutely love to learn about you and what you are doing. We have literally the coolest people in the world who are deciding that they want more for themselves and that they want to have a life of freedom and they don't want to be tied down to a 9 to 5 or tied down to 8 hours a day on a calendar like a lot of coaches and online service providers are. And that's exactly what I'm teaching you to do inside the Empire Mastermind. So, with that being said, that is the very first episode of the 200K year series. I want you to send me a message at the Pageant Gal if this episode was insightful to you, what your biggest takeaway was, and you're going to want to head over to the second episode in the series to see what else I did throughout this last year that helped me scale my business to 200K. And if you loved this episode, please send me a message, a DM at the Pageant Gal on Instagram. Let me know what was your biggest takeaway. And if you're applying for the Empire Mastermind, and stay tuned for the next episode that is out right now. You can go and listen to it and binge all of the episodes on the moves I made to scale to 200K and how you can do the same.